What if I told you one of the best survival horror games on the PS2 was almost completely forgotten? While everyone remembers Resident Evil 4 and Silent Hill, another game quietly released in 2005 that combined brutal action, terrifying monsters, and one of the most unique settings in horror gaming. A Russian whaling ship lost in the middle of a violent Arctic storm. Today, we're taking a look at Cold Fear, a game that deserves so much more attention. Cold Fear was developed by Darkwood and was their second game after Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare, which was considered a commercial success. You play as Tom Henson, a US Coast Guard officer sent to investigate a mysterious distress signal coming from the Russian whaling ship the Eastern Spirit. At first, it seems like a routine rescue mission, but once Henson boards the ship, he quickly realizes something has gone horribly wrong. The crew has disappeared, blood covers the decks, and strange creatures begin attacking you from the darkness. As Henson digs deeper, he discovers a secret biological experiment involving an ancient parasite capable of taking over human hosts. What starts as a rescue mission soon becomes a desperate fight for survival.
My God.
If you've played Resident Evil 4, some of the controls will seem familiar. You'll explore dark corridors, solve environmental puzzles, manage limited ammunition, and fight infected enemies that become more dangerous as the game progresses. But Cold Fear has one feature that makes it stand out. The storm system. The entire ship is constantly being battered by massive waves. The deck isn't just a background, it actually affects gameplay. Every few seconds, huge waves crash over the ship, knocking Henson around and making aiming incredibly difficult. Loose cargo slides across the deck. Explosions can throw enemies overboard. Even 20 years later, this dynamic environment is still incredibly impressive. Russian mercenaries are the first enemies you will encounter on your journey around the ship. The infected aren't your typical zombies. They're victims of a parasitic organism that mutates its host into terrifying creatures. Some sprint directly towards you, and some evolve into massive monsters that require every bullet you've been saving. The game constantly changes enemy types, keeping every encounter unpredictable. The parasite-infected enemies can be knocked down quite easily, but unless you destroy the brain, they will get back up and attack you. There is a few rooms within this game that hold more enemies than your typical corridor. This is where if you've been misusing your ammo, you will come into issues. For me, I was running low in this encounter, so by the end of it, I was running out. All I had was the harpoon gun that only distracts enemies, not does damage. And I had to frantically run around hitting the zombies until thankfully I found some AK ammo on the floor. But this is a cold reminder of how misusing ammo can lead to your demise. For a PlayStation 2 game, Cold Fear is still surprisingly good. The lighting is dark and moody, the sound design is outstanding. You can hear metal creaking, distant screams, thunder crashing, and waves smashing against the hull. It creates a constant tension even when nothing is happening, and honestly, sometimes the ship itself feels like the real monster. So, why don't more people talk about Cold Fear? The biggest reason was timing. It was released in 2005, just months after Resident Evil 4 completely changed survival horror. Most players and reviewers compare the two games, giving it an average score of 7 out of 10. The similarities in the game for that time frame were quite close, with the zombies both being infected by a parasitic enemy that changed the human form. While Resident Evil 4 became one of the greatest games ever made, Cold Fear quietly disappeared, selling only around 70,000 copies across all 3 platforms in the US market. Unfortunately, it never got the recognition it deserved. Throughout the game, you will have to go back and forth between sections that you have already visited, with monsters respawned, and even sometimes with new monsters in that area that you are not expecting. This sometimes gets tedious in the events of the oil rig sections of the game, because you're going through the thing about 3 or 4 times just to advance the story. Is it still worth playing today? I played this game for the first time for this video, and if you're a fan of classic survival horror like me, absolutely. Sure, the controls feel dated, the voice acting isn't perfect, and some sections become repetitive, but the atmosphere, the setting, and the dynamic ship mechanics still make Cold Fear feel unique. There really isn't another horror game quite like it. Unfortunately for me, the worst part of the game was the final boss. In the first half of the final boss, you have to protect the woman who is planting C4 across the 3 towers. Doing so, you have to spray ammo into the boss, doing no damage or health damage to it, and then the boss in turn will turn around, charge at you with a very unpredictable and very hard to dodge attack, causing you to lose quite a bit of health just in the first phase when there is no chance for you to kill it. In the second half of the boss fight, again, you have to spray the boss, which does basically no damage, if any. I couldn't tell. The mechanic of how you have to do this is you have to get under the boss's feet, dodge a slam attack with its foot, and then get it to pick you up, which sometimes, even when you're trying to get picked up by the boss, he will miss you. And only then you will have to then do a QTE event by spamming buttons, and then you will shoot it in the head doing a critical damage. But if you mess up, he will just drop you, and this is quite easily done as you're trying to be quick. After you've done this about 3 or 4 times, the boss is done and the final cutscene will play. It's definitely worth checking out. And if you played it back on the PS2, what was the scariest moment for you? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more retro gaming content, and you'll see me in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Hurry, get in!
Let's get out of here! It's alright. I'll take care of this.
Papa, I'm sorry.
Goodbye, Papa.